I will call to order the Tourism and Arts Commission meeting on Monday, March 10th at 2 p.m. And our first agenda item is public comment. Our audience is empty. Lied. We were not recording. Oh,
I didn't hear anything.
great. I get to practice again.
Yeah.
There you go. There it is. I knew I just made it. Okay.
Call to order.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
I will call to order the Tourism and Arts Commission meeting for Monday, March 10th at 2 p.m. We have Michelle via Zoom on there. So,
Oh, there, I was having trouble. Sorry.
okay. We can hear you. We can see you. Hello. Welcome. Welcome. First agenda item was public comment, and we have no attendees for in-person public comment. I assume we haven't received any other manner. So let's move on to number 2, which is budget and process for requesting funds.
So this one, Tim's email or Tim's letter kind of fits with this one also. He did apologize for not being able to be here. He was wondering if you guys would be interested in supporting some of the operation expenses for the restrooms. So he's asking for $100,000. And he said that will cover about 28% of the costs. And the rest will still be coming out of the general fund.
Okay.
So that just opens up $100,000 of that money by TLC covered.
And when do we find out, when do we get the information from here's what I was looking for. So they're not available to the applicants till April 7th, and then we don't see, when do we have our meetings? Not until
I think June, we usually do,
June.
yeah. So on Tim's thing, if you flip it over, it's printed double sided.
Yeah.
Oh, got the revenue on one side and expense on the other, so. On the revenue, we will just, they're backwards, sorry about that. So revenue, we're gonna have a beginning fund balance of $1 million. He's anticipating 488,000 for our transient room tax, and then another, yeah, 57,154 for the 70% of, the different buckets.
Yeah.
So when all is said and done, he is anticipating $1.5 million. So it'll be
all together, or does that include our reserve?
that's it, that's all.
That's
There's
it.
really no reserve. Okay, so when you get to the expense side, you'll see this is revenue. So this is money coming in. So on the back side, you'll see he was anticipating 523,000 for grant awards.
For this year, the ones we haven't seen yet, or the ones we've already approved?
Fiscal year 25, 26.
Coming up, so that's gonna be the ones that are asking for money.
Asking for money.
Okay, gotcha.
Tourism purpose, he went ahead and put $537,000. So this is any tourism purpose that you guys chose to use. You have an expending authority and spend money should you want to with council's approval. And then he plugged in $100,000 for the restrooms if you guys wanted to.
Gotcha.
And so you would end up in this situation with an ending fund balance. So that would be kind of like what your reserve is, because you can't touch that money.
Yeah.
So that ending fund balance you cannot access. But that means that next year you're gonna start with a minimum of 429,000, which you're gonna have more than that because you're not gonna spend all that other money.
But we start this year with $1 million, so we're starting with $500,000. So the trend is our unreserved is becoming less if we spend in these allocated amounts.
Well, your ending fund balance and your beginning fund balance, we never know, we have to figure out what your beginning fund balance is early. Technically, your beginning fund balance is gonna be more than $1 million, but we estimate low.
Yep.
Because
Yeah.
we don't want to short ourselves. So when you actually look at the GL, there's gonna be more than $1 million in there, but we're gonna budget $1 million just in case something happens and we're off.
Yeah, that makes
Because we're budgeting early before we've spent everything, or before we even accumulated all the revenue.
And this is just the TLT money. This has nothing to do with the school. That's a whole separate
This is
bucket.
just you guys.
Yeah, okay, I just wanted to make sure.
But I'm still looking at ending fund balance. If you look at 2022 and 2023, those are at 1.2.
Right,
So
you're gonna still end up,
we're above, but we're not as above as we once work.
Well, and this year you're gonna end just as high, because when you look at budget amount for 24-25, that
Yeah.
included a $750,000 tourism purpose that didn't get spent. So your ending fund balance in actuality at the end of this, at 24-25 year is gonna be much higher.
Much higher than the
Wait.
1.6. Down here at the bottom, the total budget amount 24-25 was, and we ended balance.
Oh, yeah, so
1.604 is what it says. Yes. At the bottom. I'm on the revenue.
Oh, on the
Down
revenue.
here, 24-25, the end, it says total $1,604,000.
Yeah,
That includes
So-
money we did not spend. Is that
no, because
correct?
this is revenue coming in,
Yeah,
so this is just money coming in. So you wanna look at expenses.
and that says 1.8 at the end.
That's what I'm saying is,
Oh, yeah, so
So
you're
we're-
gonna, because we didn't spend all of that 750,000, yeah, you're gonna,
There's a lot of money there.
there's a lot of money there, yeah.
Okay.
But you always budget low on your beginning fund,
Oh,
so.
yeah, okay,
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
Is there an amount we're required to end? A minimum amount we're required to end? So we
Don't
could
spend it.
theoretically, yeah, but we could. We could go to zero
yes.
They
if
used
we
to
wanted. to.
run zero all the time,
Yeah.
that was why they were trying to build up reserves, is because they would literally be.
Yeah, I'm not saying we want to do that. I'm
Yeah.
just trying to figure out what our parameters are.
Yeah, so the way the
Where the
budget is,
edges are.
the way the budget is set up this year on this proposed budget form, you can spend everything except for $429. Because that 429 is in your ending fund balance and you can't spend that.
Why?
Because the only way to access an ending fund balance is to do a supplementary budget and you have to have a public hearing to do that.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's, because that's why we have contingency. So if you think you're gonna run into something, you have contingency. And you can have up to 15% contingency, but anything in ending fund balance, really you can't touch without going through a lot of hoops.
Gotcha. So if we needed to, we could go through the hoops.
You could,
Yeah, okay.
But last year, we had a lot of TAF award money we didn't even spend. So,
Yes.
there is definitely a good amount in there.
But like we said in the last meeting, when we started to go through, or maybe it was at the city council meeting that we were at, when they were starting to talk about accessibility and then the art and maybe the bathrooms and maybe this, and it's like, sounds like you're gonna run out of money. And it's like, if we deal with on trails and we deal with all that stuff, it's quite possible that we would go through that money.
Yeah, you definitely can. Tim, also always, and Lori, you always budget low on what you think you're gonna get revenue from the TLT.
Yeah.
Also, so, this is where it'll get, when you guys do start spending, it's where it'll get, there's a lot of things you guys wanna do and, you gotta think about long-term if it's a reoccurring versus a one-time. Which is also kind of exciting, the fact that you have money you can do these things with.
Mhm. Now, is this money that we've got here, does that include the money we put for the redoing the art piece? Or is that part of what needs to come out of that
That
1 million?
Would be taken account in this current fiscal year, so
Not the
that's
1
already
million,
spent.
it's actually the 24-25. So that's already been accounted
That's
for.
already been.
Okay, so that money, we don't have to worry about.
Yep,
That's our
so
money.
the restroom money, the money towards the sculpture, any expenses, we're assuming that all expenses by the end of this fiscal year have been accounted for when we're looking at this. So any tourism and arts funds that haven't been paid out have been accounted for in this. So they go through and look, like they start this in January, February, they look at you and they say, okay, what are you gonna spend between now and June 31st? And they anticipate all of that, remove that to come up with your beginning fund balance.
I think I get it. And then the question is the budget and process for requesting. So we already have one set up for the TAF applications for events and stuff.
Yeah.
We don't have anything for other
Wait a minute,
items.
before we go on to that, are we being asked to vote on this 100,000?
Yes, if this is something you'd want to do, we would want to vote.
And we
Okay,
have to take it to city council.
I guess
Don't
this
they have
one,
to approve it?
well, I guess if it's you're making the recommendation, then yes, but I also think there's administrative powers that they may be able to do that. I'm not sure. I gotta find out with Tim.
Okay.
Because administratively, the city manager can say we're gonna use funds for something. So, but if this is based off of the way the recommendations are, I think it should. But, oh, wait, no, I think I know the answer to this. I'm sorry.
That's
Sorry, I
okay.
had to work through it.
I completely understand.
This goes through the budget committee process. And the budget committee consists of council. So that's when it would be presented. Yes, we went through this.
Okay.
We went through this scenario and yeah. So because this will go through the budget committee consists of, I believe, up to 5 members and the city council. And so they will get a chance to review it during the budget process. And if they say, no, we don't think this is a good use of funds, they will say, no, you're not spending it.
And when does that happen?
That happens in May.
In May, okay.
Yep. And maybe,
So we don't have to say yes or no. It would be Bruce saying, we want to use $100,000 of TAF to do this.
I mean, he could, but I think we want TAF to be.
They want to buy.
On board.
Say, yeah, that seems like a good idea.
And realistically, I guess we could do it ahead of the budget meeting too. I'm trying to remember how, we had a lot of conversations about this. I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
I'm trying to remember everything.
Got a lot.
You're a lot younger than me, so I can't believe you can remember all you got.
Right.
Oh,
You would
God.
not believe this stuff I forget. So there's several things, and I'll talk to Tim again to see what his plan was. I thought his plan was to do it through the budget committee process, but maybe it was to go back. I don't remember for sure now.
Because it seems like this is asking us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We are asking you. We want you guys, we want your buy-in, we want your input, we want you to, you know.
And that's for the 25, 26 year, not right now.
Not right now.
Okay, I get it.
I,
I think I'm getting it.
And this is something that you guys can choose as a commission if you want to continue funding, if you don't want to continue funding, you know,
Go through.
we budget 1 year at a time. You can kind of think like, oh, I want to do this long term, but you don't have to.
Okay.
You know, and even if you do want to do it, you guys just have to say, we want to
Bless it every
continue.
year.
Yeah, you have to basically bless it every year. But you can have a different commission that comes in and says, I don't like this. I want that money to go to something else. We're going to stop doing it. So it's not a long-term commitment because you'll have to revisit it every year.
so I'm gonna convolute it even more.
Okay.
When I'm looking at expenses for the Midtown restroom rebuild, I see a projected $520,000. That's significantly more than what our initial,
We were just talking.
well, that was my question.
Yeah, we did not pay for the whole thing. We just,
Yeah.
wasn't it the?
So what,
Karen had done a thing and then all of a sudden it was like, oh, it was extra and it's like, well, why don't we pay for that?
So what happens is we budget early.
okay,
So when we budget, a lot of times we don't know the cost. And so you throw in whatever you think it is.
okay.
So I don't know exactly what was spent because this is pulling straight from the budget.
Yeah, that's where I'm like,
I can't remember.
you, if we said such amount at the beginning and it went over that, are they going into our funds to cover the extra of
I
it?
do
Because,
not believe so, and I do not believe that they went over anything, but I can
Okay.
check with Karen. But this is when we're doing it, we're guessing. And a lot of times this number is just a guess.
A placeholder.
Yeah, a place.
Okay.
I think that all happened in the year while I was off, but I was watching what was going on and I do vaguely remember that Karen said, we were able to do this, but she needed, it seems like it was $40,000, correct me if I'm wrong. And she needed 40,000 to do something else that was going to make it. Shoot, I don't even remember what it was, but it's like, why aren't they asking for TAF money for a restroom? That makes perfect money. I mean,
Yeah.
perfect sense.
Yeah, and this project, when we first initially started this project years ago, when you talk to contractors, we thought it was gonna be this much.
yeah,
And then the first time we bid it, it was like, whoa, and we bid it more than once.
yeah.
Because it was just insane. That's not what we
Yeah.
expected.
But we didn't fund the whole bathroom. It was a add-on, something that Karen's not here, so I don't know, but
Yeah.
she came and asked, and it seems like this was in the year that I was on this thing.
Yeah, you're right.
She came and asked for a little bit more money to get something specific done that was gonna be very, very helpful for the Midtown bathrooms. And it was like, well, why aren't we
Yeah.
using TAF money for bathrooms? It's already been blessed by
Yeah.
the state that we can use that stuff for bathrooms.
Well, and I guess as we're looking at budget, that's something I think we have to, like, as we are approached to fund these things, if they exceed what our initial projection was, are we going in saying, we're paying this dollar amount, no more, it has to come from someone else? Or are we giving them fluidity to go over? You see what I mean? I mean,
You're saying,
there's a difference if we said let's throw out $450,000 earmarked for those bathrooms and say it comes in at, well, it could go either direction. It could come in at 400, then are we playing with $50,000 more coming back in? Or
Yes, on that case.
if it goes over, is the assumption that that's going to come out of ours or is that coming from somewhere else? Because that changes the shape. If we look at the longevity of the bathroom remodel.
But you're assuming that we're funding the entire bathroom remodel of anything, and so far we have not been asked to do that.
This one, I think we did.
We did fund it all. I thought.
I'm looking.
We
I think
Yes.
city council approved.
Yes.
the-
We funded 400 and something thousand.
Must have been while I was on then.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think it was right,
I'm
Yes.
looking at those staff reports.
but I think it came in initially, like you're saying, Julie, like a little something and then it became.
And that's fine, because it makes perfect sense to fund the bathroom.
Yes,
Money.
Mhm.
but I'm saying,
The state will let you do that.
yes,
And it's a tourist thing.
yes.
Yeah, so originally we only had 250,000 in the budget, and so they needed an extra 197, but
Yeah.
then working through everything, it looks like they went and asked
It's either 424 or 470 something,
447.
447.
Yeah. 447, 522 was the bid amount. So that was.
But then this says 520, so,
That's where,
Right, but this was also done, this is done before this.
oh, okay,
This is a guess,
yeah,
okay.
and so,
So they actually spent 447.
well, the bid was 447. I don't know what they actually spent, because I'm just looking at the staff reports.
And it's not done, so who knows?
and that's where I'm going.
But that one, you have a contract, you have a bid amount, so
Oh.
so you're stuck in with these amounts. So it's not by hour, it's by,
Project.
It's like what they just did with the
It's a
police
fixed
station and this, which is
Yeah.
like, we're
Yes.
locking in the price right here.
yes.
And if it costs you more, too bad for you.
Yeah, basically. So they have, they're like, it's gonna cost us this much for this much for that. They build all their labor into it and everything.
Okay.
If they do take longer, then it's pretty much on them.
Yeah.
But in this situation, according to Karen's email, they're actually still on time.
Okay, so we don't, I guess that's my question is on these, it may vary from project to project, but what if it does go over and we gotta pay for,
Well, you approve the amount. that
of the
they
max
have.
bid?
Yeah, so like,
Yeah.
that one, I just found the staff report. Let me look and I can see the actual budget resolution. And maybe the budget resolution was for the 520. Because of the way this worked. Normally this would happen before the other one, but maybe it did. So sorry, guys, my brain is just.
But I brought that up being like, is that when we talk about budget process and requesting funds? That may be a question, like,
What
is
if-
there a chance, is this the maximum allotment or is there a chance of ongoing an overage? And if so, who covers that overage? I think we
And-
have to look at that because that.
And
could affect
also-
us.
The maintenance,
Yes.
if you build a trail, that's got to get maintained. Do we maintain it with funds from this? Do we hand it off to?
That's what they're asking.
Public
for,
Works or-
$100,000 to
Yeah.
help.
Right.
To help.
Maintain yeah,
Operations of the bathroom.
But when we're talking,
28%.
yeah, but when we're talking budget,
$100,000 a year to,
I knew it was 78 for toilet paper and that was during COVID.
Well, COVID was crazy down.
toilet paper was,
But yeah, and hard to come by. That, I didn't forget that figure.
yeah, but there was nobody here.
Well, during part of it.
Oh, we were holed up in our house and I didn't see anybody.
At the very beginning, I didn't see anyone, but,
Well, town was closed.
Yeah,
for-
yeah.
We
Yeah.
closed down town for
Yeah.
8 weeks, but once that 8 weeks.
oh yeah, then it was.
The whole thing came down here.
Yeah.
Like, we don't have to go to school. We don't have to go to work. We just go to the beach.
Exactly.
They got internet.
Okay,
But I think,
finding what I want, but let's use the trail example.
Okay.
So let's go walk through this. If somebody comes up to you and says, I want you to fund the trail, I want to create a trail, it's gonna go from point A to point B, and I estimate it's gonna cost $150,000. Will you fund it? And you say yes, you are only committing to $150,000.
okay,
That's it.
Okay.
You are not committing to maintenance or anything else unless they ask for it. So if they come back and say, let's start over, I want you to build a trail and I want you to maintain 50% of the expenses. You can say yes to some, no to the other.
okay,
You can say, you know what, let's commit the $100,000 for the trail, but let's see how much your expenses come in and then we can discuss it. So you have all the leeway and control
Okay.
into how you want to do it. But when they ask, they need to be asking for everything that they want. There's definitely no assumptions.
Hmm.
This is what you're gonna get and that's it.
And we have to learn to ask the right questions.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying is
trail's been
needs
built, now we need you to
to
help.
be in our questions, just like art, what about the maintenance, is there ongoing maintenance, that's where I brought it up, like. Because
But
you
that
could think you're dipping a toe, but it could be more.
That could be the following year's ask.
Yep,
Michelle?
Michelle has her hand up too.
Oh, sorry, Michelle.
It's okay. I'm I know I'm new. One of the things that I'd like to throw in about the bathrooms, and I've been kind of following this along the entire way, is if we do have this discussion, I'd like to revisit the signage, because I've been trying to push for gender inclusive bathrooms. And I've been getting a lot of feedback of, well, we have it's a family restroom, which is different than inclusive. It's actually, that's great and everything, but it's creating a little bit more segregation. And it's just been proven that people in the queer community have had a lot of harassment when there's been just a two gendered option, and much less just a family restroom. So I've been trying to push this for a while, and it's kind of had a little spot in my I guess my heart. And it's one thing I just want to, since it came up, I just want to keep thinking about how we can actually show that we're a really inclusive community, and show that everybody actually is welcome here. And we'd like to really think about what the signage would be and what the messaging would be if we were doing this, and maybe continue that conversation.
Isn't the family bathroom the same thing?
It's not the same thing.
Why not?
Well, because a lot of people say that you are a non-conforming alternative gender, or identifies. You go into a family restroom and there's somebody there with a child. There's been a lot of harassment happening, and it's dangerous for people that are not conforming to either.
Isn't a family bathroom a one?
That's what I always thought. That was gonna be my,
It's a one
Yeah,
thing?
so I haven't
With a
seen the
changing
design.
table and whatever?
I haven't seen the design since they redid it, because when they showed it to us on DRB, and before it was just, I don't know but I don't know what what the design, how the designs changed. But I would definitely say that, like, I'd just like to think about signage and just really trying to be a little progressive and inclusive.
okay. Yeah, I don't know the design of that one. And that's,
It's
family
changed since
bathroom
it
that has
came
more
to
than
DRB.
one
So I don't know.
toilet.
Yeah, I think usually the family bathrooms have it's one
One
space,
stall, yeah.
just,
and
and
so,
you lock the door, and it's just
Yeah.
one
and I,
group at a time,
so we're talking signage, so and forgive me, if it's a single use restroom and you're saying it says family restroom, that's not inclusive, but what
But you
would,
could say family restroom and like gender inclusive. It could just say for everyone. But I know that that's not by law yet, but I think it will be. And,
okay,
California's actually has this set up for in the next, I think by 2028, that everything has to be, every public space has to be gender inclusive. So
what would the ideal sign from your perspective be that would go on a single stall restroom? I guess that,
well, a lot of times they just have like a symbol or whatever, but I would just, say gender inclusive with a changing table,
okay,
or
okay. Yeah, and
all genders with a changing table or with a urinal. I don't know.
When I was in Utila, I think they answered the question pretty well. They had men's, women's, whatever.
well, and I'm trying to think if and forgive me, because I haven't been in all the restrooms, thank God, the one thing of living here, but.
That's why.
Yes, exactly. But right now, are they all designated men, women separately with
Yes.
no single stall?
Except for the one
Yes.
coming in here.
This one will have a single stall?
Family restroom over here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
All the rest of them have been built long enough ago that you have.
Yeah.
Women's.
Yes.
Yeah.
I understand that, but, okay. That's definitely food for thought for sure, and, future design and that,
I mean, if you just think about like a porta potty, there's no
yeah,
there. Or the Warren House has gender. I mean, the one that says with, if you go to the Warren House, ever it says with urinal, or with changing table. So
for the single, okay.
yeah, and family restroom is also just it's segregating. Like I say, you're just a single person. That's so. I mean,
Yeah,
that's it.
okay. I got you.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, all these. I mean, I assume that the bathrooms are gonna be not only on the realm of if we decide to do annual contributions to the maintenance, but, I see this as something that's gonna be moving forward throughout the years yeah, okay, we did one, now are we on to 2, 3, and,
I have a
whatnot.
question on this partial operating cost for the restrooms. Is that for all the public restrooms?
So yeah, our restrooms are all lumped into one GL account.
Okay.
And so we have West
Shirley.
Second Street and Midtown.
Mhm.
And Tolavon Estate, right?
Yeah, Sullivan Estate, so we don't have any of those bills. Those all go into one GL account.
Okay.
So all the supplies.
I was gonna say 300,000 for one set of bathrooms. would have been a lot. It's like,
So-
wow.
Yeah, I mean, it's about 120 grand per bathroom.
Yes, I think so. Yeah,
That
the
makes
cleaning
sense.
and what
Yeah.
those guys do are
I know.
amazing. I have never heard them complain, and if they do, they don't do it around us, which is, because we've asked them to clean up some pretty horrific things. These guys are phenomenal, and
Does that include the trash and dog stuff, or is that solely bathrooms?
the porter service, I can't remember, I think the porter service might get charged to restrooms also, but I'm not positive on that because we have garbage cans that's
Yeah.
separate from the
Mhm.
restroom, but I think. No, because that would just be part of the restroom cleaning. So yeah, that would be just as when they clean the restrooms, they empty the garbage.
Yeah,
So that's included in the restrooms, but all the other
Garbage
garbage
is listed under porter service, and I doubt that that gets charged to restrooms.
do we have our,
people.
It's the same people, yeah.
yeah, that's what I was asking, yeah, the AF.
I always say thank you when I'm walking by.
Yeah.
I'm like, God, you guys are so great. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Do we have our trash cans at Tolavana
Do we what?
on the state park, or do they have their own trash facilities?
That's pretty.
Yeah, it is their property, so I don't know. I'm gonna guess it's probably theirs because,
And they have the protected ones that bears can't get into. You
Oh,
have
okay.
to grasp it and then pull up.
Yep,
I don't.
okay.
There's a bear down there, but.
No, you never know. Well, I was gonna say, I never thought I'd see a cougar on the rocks either. Okay. But yeah, I think those are all things moving forward, like. What are, types of questions that I,
Make sure that they're
as we're
thinking
saying,
about everything.
process for requesting funds, just like we made our list for the grant events, the checklist through and yeah, because I think if we do have, if there are things that are one-time hits or ongoing, those ongoing can even, we have to look at the big
Right.
picture too, as our, and unless something drastic happens where our TLT funds go down, which in most cases, I wouldn't think would happen, they would be going up, but are they also going up the same rate of the expenses of maintaining the things that we've approved? So,
Is this your draft of the application?
But it's the same application as last year. I just changed the dates, but not all of them. And then as I went back through, I highlighted a few spots and I know I needed that date and change. That's just last year's.
You do say event.
Yes, I fixed I copied some language from somewhere else. And I added a little too much.
Okay, 19 restrictions. Do we
Yeah,
have that in there?
I highlighted it because I'd like to take it on. And also the use of the CBE, we've asked that and every single
I
person
know.
has said yes. And so I'm like, I'd like to just take it.
yeah,
Yeah, I don't think we
Comedy
need that
festival.
anymore,
yeah.
either of those two things.
But now we're bouncing around.
I know.
I know, sorry.
So,
I was moving on to budget and process.
so do we feel like we want to vote on bathrooms today, or do we feel like we want to?
And they
Wait a
need to know
month.
that before our, because we're not gonna get that much.
Yeah.
Right, so this is, and if you look at the expenses, you still have a good amount for your staff, you have a good amount for tourism purpose. So even if you do choose to do the 100,000, you're still sitting in a good position.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It's not making a huge dent.
And they're not even asking for the whole
Right.
amount.
Yeah, 28%, that seems reasonable to me. So,
If we don't, I mean, like, for instance, we're
What?
280,000 less spending on TAF than budgeted. Do we have within that fiscal year the ability to take the excess of that and spend it? Okay,
So one of the things that your expenses can go in between these lines. They
Okay.
just can't go out of this box. That's how it was explained to me. Like, we can't use that money, like somebody else can't take the money, you know, you gotta stay within there. But your different expense lines you could use for other things.
okay,
So yeah, if we spent, let's say we wanted to spend $600,000, you can say, okay, what actually happens is you overrun tourism purpose by, you spend $600,000 and you make sure you underrun the other line items, so you're balancing out at the end.
Mhm.
okay.
Because instead of transferring money back and forth, it just gets kind of, so you can overrun one as long as you underrun the other.
And I'm having flashbacks to the $100,000 figure. We have no commitment right now out of our funds for anything CBE right now, or we do? Okay,
Do not.
okay,
Years ago, we did discuss it.
yeah,
And it was put up as an option that could happen,
Yeah.
but there was no commitment made.
okay,
There was no, and everything's pretty much dead right now.
Yeah.
They're back at the drawing board discussing different things. So these are your only.
the only
commitments.
things,
Yeah.
okay, okay. Thoughts?
I would make a motion to approve Tim's proposal that TAC spend $100,000 for the fiscal, it's not for this fiscal year.
No.
For 25-26
25.
on operational, $100,000 on operational costs for the bathrooms in the 25-26 budget. Is that right?
Yeah, we got it.
I'll second.
Those in favor?
Can we
Right.
put can we put a caveat in there that the signage has to go through DRB or something, or process?
It will go through DRB.
Okay.
right?
It
I don't
already
think
went
so.
through DRB.
Yeah.
I don't think that the public signage goes through DRB.
So I believe that did go through DRB because that came up at the council level when they appealed it to council. And they did discuss, because that would be a part of the exterior of the building.
Yeah. But I for some reason, I thought like signage that's just like informational signage doesn't go through. So
I
they,
don't discuss.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know on that.
I mean, you can ask for it. I don't know that, I know when we're dealing with grant things, we can't put caveats on things, but this isn't a grant. So you can ask it to be considered, you can ask anything you want, but that would be up to you guys. I know that the signage was discussed at the council level because that was in the plans, but I don't know, and maybe what Michelle was talking about was it's shown on the plans, but out of the purview because it is just signage announced, not like what's this, like a store sign,
Gotcha.
I
Yeah,
get
it's
it.
just informational because I don't think that ever comes to DRB with like, tsunami zone or whatever. That never comes
Oh,
to.
yeah,
DRB. So this probably wouldn't either.
yeah, because signs are content neutral. So it's not supposed to matter when DRB is looking at it, they're not looking at what the sign says, but how the sign looks.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
so that's
gotcha.
like signs, all of our sign codes, you're not supposed to look at what the sign is, just the aesthetics of it. So that, Michelle's right on that one. Yeah.
Gotcha. Well, I'm in favor of the $100,000. I'm not in favor of the word gender being on anything. at this point, just because I think it's just making something political. If there's a different way to use a symbol or a sign, or not a sign, excuse me, or a neutral word, that's okay with me, but I think it would make something.
But you don't have to say gender.
Then let's come up with a different idea.
Yeah,
What
like
if it's just
it
single
can
use?
just be what's available.
There you go.
I'm just looking, I mean,
Not single use, but.
But-
Yeah,
Like-
here's what I'm seeing is restroom for everyone. I mean, that's the thing though.
You don't even have to do
Oh,
that. It could just be,
our city doesn't have a sense of humor.
it can just be single stall with urinal, single stall with changing table. I was trying to avert from saying family restroom because that's what I keep hearing. And that's exclusionary.
That's fine if it's neutral. I just don't want the
Yeah,
gender.
I agree with you. I understand what you're saying, but having it be extremely neutral, I guess Julie and I are agreeing 100% there.
Yeah.
Not to bring DRB into it because I'm on that too. So.
Yeah. So I guess the question is,
I have gotten an email from Karen saying they were going to put family restroom or they were making it and they were going with whatever, like by the standards of inclusivity with the law and using the word family restroom. And I don't think that that is very inclusive. I think that's exclusionary.
Unisex public toilet.
So everybody's
For everybody, what it says in here.
someone just has a toilet symbol. but-
exactly like just a symbol or single stall, like as basic as you can make it.
I'm gonna be honest, you guys can make a recommendation, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't tie it to the award.
No.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of what I'm wondering too. This doesn't seem like the right spot. for
Yeah.
me.
I just
I
have
mean,
been following this.
I understand what you're
Sorry.
saying and I agree with it, but I'm
Yeah.
not sure that this is the right place to be doing it. So with this.
Yeah, I mean, is there a way to say, yes, we approved the $100,000, but
I think why don't we just approve the 100,000?
Not
If
bad.
you want to do this, just pass a resolution saying that we're making a recommendation to the city council to have this language. Yeah, I mean, it's completely separate, just
Yeah.
just split them
Agree
apart.
with that.
I'm okay with that.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second.
Oh, we voted.
Okay,
Oh,
let's
we're
vote.
okay to vote?
yes.
We had all in favor. but-
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Okay,
Okay, all in favor.
5 for 5.
Sorry, I'm difficult.
No, you're,
Hello.
good, no worries.
So we're on to the application?
So we're on to purchase of public art.
What about process for requesting
Well,
funds? Do we
that's,
need
I
to-
guess that's my question is, was the process for requesting funds just the approval of this, or is it the ongoing process for requesting funds?
It's the ongoing process. We talked about, Greg was gonna send out some information. He's been super
Yeah.
busy and hasn't gotten out. So if we wanted to start looking at the process, start making a checklist, you know. But we still need to go. What we do need more in a timely manner though is the TAF grant.
Mhm.
So that's something we can work on maybe at the next meeting, because we do need
Yeah.
to get through the TAF grant today.
Okay,
Okay, can I make a
The
suggestion?
application, yeah.
Because I remember Greg saying that he was going to draft some key points
Yes.
for,
He didn't
you know,
say.
how we're going to do this. So, yeah, and I understand he's busy, hasn't gotten to it, but I think rather than just have a free flowing discussion now, him not here besides, why don't we wait until he gets that and then we've got something
agreed.
If that,
to talk about.
because I thought he said he had it mostly done and he was just gonna send it to you.
Yeah.
It seemed like he said he was like, oh yeah, I've written up something, and so it sounded like he was like, almost had something done.
Yep, I have my note to ask Greg.
Okay, so.
And then put that on the agenda for next meeting.
Yeah. We move on to the public art piece.
Can I ask a quick question about, since there was no public comment, I'm guessing that, nobody knows that this is now an open, a meeting for open comment. I'm wondering if we can have Nancy McCarthy say something.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Because I don't, aside from the paper, which, apparently we have one. If it would be possible to get that out to more people, to make them aware that you have an idea that follows the Oregon state law, here's when our meetings are.
Yep, and now that we have that up and going, first issue went out last
Was
week.
great.
So I will ask Nancy to put something in. She will likely contact some members here to put something up.
Okay,
And we'll ask her to put that in.
Great.
Are we all okay with taking out the COVID-19 and?
Yes.
We're at public of purchase.
I'm sorry, I thought we were going to that.
No, I don't know. Do we want to still talk about public of purchase art, purchase of public art?
I mean,
Wait till Tim.
Oh.
I'm so sorry.
I was back on the requesting funds.
My only additions to that was making sure that the materials used are appropriate for the site location
Oh, you're talking.
or for a lot.
Not public.
Yeah, the only thing I had was longevity and maintenance maybe being a consideration factor when purchasing, and
On the this
Public art.
public art statement, okay, policy statement for public art, okay.
That's further-
So,
it's further in here, yes?
yeah, for the first page.
Right after the blue page.
Oh, right.
It's easy to miss because it's.
Oh, yeah, of course. I read this.
That was the only addition that I had was, is if we're starting with a site specific, then making sure the art is compatible with the site in order to create longevity and maintenance, and also knowing what is expected for longevity and maintenance. And I don't like to put constrictions on art, but I think this is one that in our due diligence of spending money and some things, we've learned that there's an expense with putting the wood outside, or is that piece more suitable for an interior or a covered location? As an example. That's the only thing I really had on that.
I would agree with that.
Mhm.
Okay. Does that make sense, Jennifer?
Yep.
Okay.
One of the.
Okay, so I think we need to, I'm trying to think of how to word this. What I picked up was that the art is compatible with the site, and that kind of makes sense. That's sort of A of what I heard you say. And B is that the materials will withstand the environment.
Yes.
Okay,
Very well said.
but wait a minute though, I think we need to. No material is going to stand the environment indefinitely.
Correct.
Yeah, and obviously we don't want something where we spend a lot of money and a year and a half later it's
Yes.
disintegrated.
Yes.
So that's clear. But you take the example that we have with the Steve Jensen pieces, and we've had those for 18 years?
Mm-hmm.
Is it unreasonable to assume that we might have some maintenance expense like that after 18 or 20 years?
No.
So, do we want to sit down and say that it is a reasonable expectation that the materials will last for 20 years?
And I guess that's, true. I guess I just want,
If I were going back 18 years and it was me on that committee, I probably would have asked the question about it being wood,
Mhm,
because I'm wondering, should it have been bronze from the very beginning?
mhm.
So I understand what you're saying, but at the same time, now we have to go back to Steve, who is still alive, thank God, and have him there will be forms made and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, he's
What if he had just done it from the very beginning out of bronze?
Well, then would it have been affordable?
Well, that's true, but this isn't fun either.
When we added like art is compatible with site and materials are compatible with longevity or something, to try.
or
to
maximizing
Maximizing longevity, something to encourage longevity.
and again, I don't want to be like, no, we can't, we're only doing bronze art anymore. I don't want to,
Stone, yeah.
Right.
I don't want to set up those parameters, but I think asking the questions of what's the lifespan or what's the maintenance expectation in those questions, unlike we ask on grant awards. Do you ever see this being a self-sufficient running event? I kind of think of it like that, but I don't know that we need to put site specific, I guess.
Well, it is
I
kind
don't-
of site specific, because if there's something undercover, then maybe would be a,
Yeah.
yeah, or something, or if
Then
it's inside the new city hall, or it's, you know.
I mean, I don't like putting constraints on it, but I think then, how do we not get ourselves, how do we minimize these type of expenditures?
You can ask for a maintenance plan, and if it's a maintenance plan, if they say it's not applicable because of the materials it's made out of, or they can say, I feel this needs to be updated or treated in X amount of years.
Mhm.
I mean, I think that's good knowledge for us to have as the city too, because
Because then Steve might have said, well, yeah, after 15 years, we may want to go back in and do something. If we at least ask the question and have the conversation with the artist, and then we can make that decision. If they say, well, in 20 years, you might have a problem with this, or then, yeah, maybe you want to cover it with, maybe there's something you could have put on the wood that would have, or whatever, I don't know.
well, and like the bench, they,
Right.
recovered that.
Coated
Yeah.
every 15 years
Mhm.
or whatever.
Mhm.
Then at least you know that when you are purchasing the art.
Right. It's part of the maintenance cost
Does that have to
versus,
be with you?
I hate
Yeah,
making
no,
it a
I'm-
business transaction, but
Yeah.
sorry, Michelle, go ahead.
I like the idea for maintenance plan, but I would stay away from the word longevity because a lot of art is actually meant to like deteriorate. So I like the idea of having what's your maintenance plan? But not all art is expected to last forever, so.
Yeah, I'm trying to wrap my head around that though, because I'm like,
because once
if
it's
it's
up.
if it's a
nobody wants to-
significant
yeah.
expenditure that's out there.
It's like the Joe Police, well.
Yeah, Joe
It's not the Joe Police.
Yeah, right.
That I always thought it was, that thing like, oh, but it's beloved, and so now what do we do? If it
Yeah.
falls apart, what do you do? It's falling apart.
Right.
Which is actually why we got away from doing the benches, the memorial benches.
Yeah,
Is because they only lasted so long.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then trees, if the tree died, then
Yeah,
yeah.
people got very upset.
yes.
Well, maybe think about. Yeah,
See, that's
I
why,
like bringing it up and discussing it, and then we could make the decision.
yeah,
on
make that part of our,
yeah, that's all I felt, that it was valid for discussion purposes, not that needed to be the end all be all of anything, but at
Because
least we
that-
know what we're getting into.
Steve, maybe he would have said, well, we're gonna have this kind of shellac or whatever. I don't know anything
Yeah.
about protecting wood, but I mean, maybe he would
Yeah.
say, well, I'm putting this protection, but every 3 years we'll want to go down and power wash it and do the thing again.
Yeah,
And because nobody brought it up, it was just put out there and then now it's deteriorating. So maybe
No.
there is a way we could say, well, this is wood and it's gonna be outside, so what would you suggest for a way to keep it intact? And maybe there is a way, or if there isn't, maybe there's, can we, I don't know.
yeah. No, I think of like my wood cutting boards and how I'm cleaning and oiling, I mean, that's kind of what I go back to
Does
was.
that make sense to you, Tom? Cause
Yeah.
you're the
Yeah.
guy, you're the man.
Man.
well, yeah, and I mean, I also totally agree that not all art is designed to last into perpetuity.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know if
Especially-
you've ever seen the Bansky, as soon as somebody bid on it, like millions of dollars in
Yes.
a shredder. So,
Yeah.
so not all art is built to last,
And now it's worth more.
Yes, or a banana taped to a wall.
Banana taped to the wall.
but I mean, I think an example is, the whale bones over there.
Yeah.
They're steel.
Yep, they are,
Steel-
they
steel
are
rust
rusting.
In this
They are
environment,
rusting.
and those things they're gonna rust out at some point, and they're just gonna go.
Yep.
And they're gonna
Yeah.
become,
Someday they'll be gone.
steel dust.
Yes.
So,
Yes, they will be.
So, and you always have a question with something like that. How do you want to maintain it? I mean, you can,
Mhm.
the city could put a budget in there that says that, they go and pressure wash those things and then coat them with a silicone coat that protects them and then
Right.
they sort of look preserved forever. Or you just say this is the natural process and you let it
Mhm.
go.
Which is
and-
what happens to web homes too.
Yeah, and, and maybe the city documents that with photographs and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Just what the process is, and that
Mhm.
becomes
Part of the art.
part of the art, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
I think it's
Then,
just
then they
worth
can have,
having the
the,
discussion
Yeah,
Yeah.
at that time, because the
his
discussion.
historic
clearly was
Cannon
not-
Beach art wall,
Right.
where you just see pictures of it.
This is what was here.
Pretty, it's
just imagine.
Yeah.
I remember when they purchased the chicken sculpture by one of my very favorite artists in Walla Walla, and I said, well, how long will that last? What's it made out of? How did he do that? And what's it in? And I remember somebody telling me, we have no idea. He doesn't know how it's gonna weather.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay. Interesting. And it does have a little bit of a different patina now than it did when it was brand new.
Mhm.
Still holding in there though. I do love that piece, so.
Yeah.
So I guess the question is, are we adding a bullet point to this, or are we just making that part of what we will determine will be the discussion amongst the group when they're deciding to recommend it or not?
I like it as a bullet point because where it's not, it's guidelines, so that's something that you're aware of. And think about when you guys aren't here, the next people come
Yeah.
up, they're aware, it's something that keeps in their mind.
Right.
And then also with the artist is gonna. At some point, or some group of people are gonna talk to the artist, yes? And that should be in their mind so that they actually have the conversation. I think it needs to be a bullet point.
Okay,
Yeah.
How it's worded is another.
Yeah, agree. Some framework in there too.
Even if it's just something, review of maintenance plan or something, just to make sure people in the future know that they need to consider maintenance.
Yeah, I mean, if we don't care about the longevity of it, then maybe maintenance is a more. If we don't want to factor the longevity in, maybe the maintenance is more of the term.
yeah, I'm trying to think of,
I'm not sold on how I worded that. I'll put it that way.
And
Well, and, we can revisit it at the next meeting too.
Okay.
We're getting there.
then, Tom, are you asking, I'm assuming that you're gonna head up this one for this first one? You want to assign a 5-member?
So I think we talked about this briefly once before, about how really crap is your board.
Okay,
So
Tom can be the one that sort of spearheads it? Because it's saying a tourism art will assign a 5-member ad hoc art purchase committee. Are you saying that all of us are the committee?
that's how I interpreted when we did the revision of the code, that you guys would be the making of the decision. We don't want to make additional committees.
Okay,
Because that's not really a city sanctioned committee, and then you get into a lot of different gray areas. It's kind of like, we have a tree focus group, it's not a city group, it's a tree focus group, that's a little bit different.
the
but-
accessibility committee is also not a city.
Yeah, it's not a city committee, but when it gets like, is it not? If it's answering to you guys, then it kind of is. And then if it is a real committee, then it has to be advertised and it has to be published and it has to have minutes. And so that's where it gets kind of.
okay, so then what we need to do, it looks like, is change A from saying the Tourism and Arts Commission will assign to just saying the Tourism and Arts Commission is the committee.
Yes.
Okay,
And then take B away,
is, and then you take B away
and then
completely.
take C away.
You take which
And
one?
just like that, it's you guys.
Which one did you take away?
B and C. Because the art purchase committee will be supervised by TAC. Well, we are TAC, and so,
I guess we'll be supervising, right?
yeah, so B and C go away.
Okay,
Really what that is Tom's gonna be supervised.
Yes.
yeah.
He meant to say.
That look good for everyone then?
This is, so, like, where do we have room for more art? And are we going out with like, oh, the corner of Gower and Hemlock is, there's space for art there. Are we going out and looking for a piece that will work for that spot? Or are we just looking for art and then we'll find a place to put it?
It's a little bit of whatever you guys want.
Okay, I was just
So it's
wondering,
really.
I don't know
Yeah.
if you had something in your mind already about what that was? And do we have room for art in places that I don't, maybe that's a Karen Levante question.
Well, you know, a lot of things they talked about, art and restrooms, that came up at one of the council meetings.
In the restrooms
Well,
or outside?
Maybe it was outside, like
Okay.
making art. There's a lot of places you can include art that are out of the box.
Yeah.
You might find a location that you think, hey, it'd be great to have an art piece there, or you might just say, hey, let's do a call for artists and see what comes up, because maybe you don't know what you want, and, you know, you guys have a lot of options, because it'll be your program.
Okay, gotcha. And how did the Lillian Pit get to be put in the state park? How did they manage to do that?
I don't even know what you're talking about, to be completely honest. I'm not very good on my.
That's okay. Tolivana has that sculpture with the fish going around it.
Okay.
That is a Lillian Pit with
Okay.
somebody else. Can't remember if she collabed with somebody, but that's it. That's on state park land, isn't it?
I'm not sure exactly where it's
Interesting.
located.
I wonder how that-
Might be.
Wonder how that got to happen. Clock hasn't moved yet. I'm thinking, wow, it's only 2.
Yeah, no.
They didn't move, they
Apparently
didn't move the
that-
clock.
Or, wow,
Are they both?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're both off.
I wonder if they just took the batteries out, but that would be weird.
No, they just didn't switch
I'm
it.
sorry.
They didn't put them on daylight savings.
Yeah.
Oh, but they didn't.
It's really 3.
Okay, I was like, it's not moving.
Well, that's not what I meant. Yeah, sorry. Anyway, sorry, I digressed.
No, no.
Okay, but everybody's okay with the rest of these?
Yep,
When it's signed.
thank you. Okay, so let's move on to item 4. Budget review.
Okay, so this kind of, yeah, I was like, oh my goodness, it's almost time. I know. So based off the dates from past, we would want to have the packets available by April 7th. This is the exact same format as last year. I just changed some dates. The changes I would request would be the removing the COVID and the are you gonna use CBD?
Yep.
But those were the only changes I made to it.
And you're changing the date. Oh, the dates are highlighted because you don't know what they are yet.
Yeah. And then whenever I found something else, I was like, oh, make sure I update that. I think it was all date related.
Yeah, COVID and the CDC line. That makes sense.
I did I took a stab at trying to come up with like a better budget thing, but then I realized we really don't have a lot of time for that. Cause
Yeah.
I do think that's something in the future we should get done. I think if we're meeting more often, it'll be easier to accomplish. Because I love that idea for you guys to have that set.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Template.
Template to look at, and I was looking at some of the different things that people put in their budget, and then some of it was, you can get pretty broad. But then the person filling it out then has to interpret where to put things also, and so then everything was just looking like a lot of, there's gotta be a good example that exists for someone else doing grants that we could.
I'll poke along and see if I can find.
Oh, the one thing that might be helpful here, or maybe just even for consistency, because it says on the front page, this off-season tourism marketing grant. So it specifically refers that. And then a little bit later, I saw that it specifically said shoulder and off-season. But then when you get to criteria, it says, priority will be given to events, which leaves the door open. And we ran into this a little bit with the sea turtles last year, where, he said, wow, that was you just said priority. You didn't say that was an absolute, and it pretty much is an absolute with us. So should we just take that number 2 out under criteria? And that seems like it would be consistent with everything else we say in the application.
The only thing I will say is that wasn't the cottage tour kind of on that edge of, yeah. So can we say that without not then funding the cottage tour?
I mean, I think the issue is.
Can we grandfather them in?
that's always been an issue, even since the beginning, when there really was a shoulder season,
Mhm.
more of a shoulder season, but, I think the problem with sea turtles was really, it's June, July and August.
Right.
It's like, there's just
Totally,
nobody's
totally,
gonna fund anything for June, July and August.
totally.
I'm just trying to look for consistency because
Yep.
it specifically says on page 1,
Yeah.
down at the bottom,
Yeah.
this off-season
Yeah.
tourism marketing grant.
I almost want to flip it and say, do you say non-peak? Because I think we could all agree that June, July and August
And if Greg was here, he
are
would say,
peak.
September is peak still. I mean,
That's
now
true.
It is.
It is.
But,
Never mind.
I don't know if, well, I don't know. We've gotten closer and closer to saying to the History Center that it's, they could probably do with less money. And I think they asked for less money this past year, because they're
I think-
lessening their advertising.
Yeah.
And so,
And by the way, the other place where I saw it is where it says criteria continued, number 5 there. Does the program event take place during the shoulder or winter?
And I can't remember if we have to have that wording because this is where we need Greg with this specific law. Like,
no, it has nothing to do with the law.
it didn't.
No, it has
Okay.
nothing to do with the law. It's all about, it's like going to city council and trying to
Yeah.
pitch, assuming that Sea Turtles Forever could have qualified, which they didn't, as it turns out, because he was asking for operational money.
Yeah.
But if he had qualified, we would have had to stand before City Hall and every city council and say, yeah, July, let's bring people to town.
Okay. So
I
the
mean-
state mandate was not, or was not.
Nope, has nothing,
Okay.
that has nothing to do, it's all about just.
Okay. Okay.
No, go.
To be consistent, because on the criteria, it does both times say shoulder and winter tour season. I can say this shoulder or winter tourism marketing grant.
Yeah,
So
and leave
it's
off, the
consistent.
priority will be given.
Why was on page 1?
Sorry, hold on. Let me see.
So to be,
Where are we at? Are we liking shoulder and winter? Or are we liking off-season? Or are we liking non-peak? What terminology are we? I'm hearing it all and I'm not quite hearing where we're landing on that.
I just went with the one that was written more times.
Working smarter, not harder.
I mean, I think no matter what you call it, the September one's always gonna be a little iffy, but.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody's gonna fund anything in June, July and August. So instead, choose a terminology and just stick with it. And then we always are gonna have that little struggle over the cottage tour for as long as we are giving it money.
I don't really understand why we're putting that on their priority. Like, I don't really understand.
I think the priority should be off of there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think that, because we're not gonna fund anything in the summer. We're not gonna
Well,
fund.
but don't we fund Fat Tire? And,
That's May.
That's May.
oh,
We don't
there's-
fund anything June, July and August.
Nothing.
oh, really? Oh, okay. Gosh, I thought that was later. Okay.
Yeah, I know.
So for number 2, we could just change the word priority to grants. Grants will be
Yes.
given for events.
Yes,
I'm sorry, what word did you use?
Grants.
we're just taking the word
grant.
priority out.
Priority, just say,
Because we're not gonna ever fund anything in
Yeah,
July
that's
and
what
August.
I was saying. That's what I wanted to get, because I don't want anybody coming in saying, well, but you know,
But you said
you've left the door,
priority.
yeah, priority. That leaves the door open.
By saying that, yeah, because
Say, no, close the door because, actually,
because we're not
last-
going to.
last year, Julie, you summed it up perfectly.
I did.
Yeah. He said, the last thing in the world I want to do is bring one more person into this town in July. And I thought,
No.
yeah, that nails it.
We're the happiest beach in the United States this week,
It's gonna be happy in July.
according to Travel and Leisure Magazine.
this week.
And then the people want to. Is the chamber's going out and doing all that advertising? It's like, that is organic. Nothing to do with that.
Well, we do on the videos, right? Don't we, for the,
We fund the videos for the.
The chamber.
Fund, well, yes, we give
Yeah.
back money, but that has nothing to do with, we don't do a video for anything, bringing people here in the summer. No.
Oh, okay.
video,
Okay.
bringing people here in the summer.
Okay.
That kind of crap that happens where this is the best beach for blah, blah, blah,
Yeah.
all organic
Yeah,
and you can't control it.
right.
That was a travel agency in England that came up with that.
Jeez. The happiest beach, really?
Yeah. And they were basing it off of social media. And
They must have been here in November.
well, they weren't here. They just they used like a algorithm to go through like Facebook and
Yeah.
Instagram and see how many people are smiling.
Mm.
Clearly it wasn't me.
That is fun. I really am my smiling in
Okay,
July.
July.
yeah. Um, okay,
One of the things that I'm meeting with the chamber Wednesday. And we're gonna discuss the availability, because we have set meetings, TAC is one of the set meetings. And we're gonna look and see what's available. From there, I can come back to you guys and send an email about these future dates, because we have to have dates for interviews and we need dates for meeting to discuss things. So I've gotta find out from Laura what's available.
Mhm.
And then I will shoot an email out to you guys and just say, okay, let's pick these dates, and then you guys let me know what works for you, and then I can plug in the blanks.
Okay.
Before April 7th. Perfect, yeah, sorry this really did sneak up on us, and then we just got the move date last week.
Oh,
So
yeah.
now everything is
Which is
like,
what?
we're looking at the week of April 14th, so like stuff's happening. And we'll be announcing it soon. That's kind of where everything is. We're putting things together. And so now it's like, okay, now we really need to,
go through there. Okay.
yep.
So you'll send an email out with the dates and we just singularly reply to you.
Yeah, don't
Yep.
reply all.
Do not reply all.
So, our next TAC meeting that's supposed to be on the 14th, we're not gonna do that day, I assume?
Well, one of the things we wanted to talk about, we were gonna talk about future dates anyways, because there was concern about being in the downtown area in the summertime. And so we kind of wanted to talk about the dates anyways.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, if possible, not have one. Or the TAP grant package though, there's anything else that you guys would like to?
Not not for me personally.
And I didn't hear a lot of feedback on the billable forms, so I'm thinking there weren't too many issues, so.
Yeah. What percentage of people use that?
All but two,
Okay,
and the two that didn't are ones that they pretty much have a template already filled out.
okay,
Saved on their computer, and so they just pulled that one up, and the questions are the same,
okay.
so it was easy for them to do. If we ever do change a question, I would definitely wanna call it out and just say, hey, FYI, new questions, let's make sure,
Mhm.
you know, but, once they switch over to the new one, they can save that and then keep.
Go through there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so meeting dates, as far as outside of the dates, for TAP, you know, the evals, the ones with asterisks. And review midterms, we can actually do that on a regular meeting date. Obviously I'll know more on Wednesday, but taking into account, we're gonna be at the chamber in the summertime. What do you think would be best? And when I was talking to Laura, I was like, hey, we have a TAC meeting on Monday. We'll just talk to people and see kind of what they think about it. And if you guys like 2 or 3 o'clock, but then I'm also in that situation where we move this to 2 and then the 3 o'clock that Bruce was in, they moved theirs to 2.
Right.
So I'm like, we just moved you guys.
Yeah.
So I mean, we could do afternoon. I don't know if there's a day that's less, well, Mondays are crowded because people leave. Lots of people leave on Monday.
There's no.
Every day is crowded.
But in the
afternoon.
Yeah. To meet down there and try to find parking.
I guess my only,
Mornings, is that what we're saying?
I'm fine with whatever you guys. If the commission's good with
Yeah.
mornings, we can do mornings.
Because at least we'll find parking then. If we did 9
Yeah.
AM, we'll find parking then.
yeah.
Um,
And the only thing I would say is, yeah, if we did morning, then that. We always thought about farmer's market when we were here doing it.
Oh, yeah.
but we're not doing Tuesday.
But we're not doing, yeah,
We do Mondays and do
mornings.
9 a.m.
Yeah.
Which day are we talking about?
We're talking Mondays, right? For
Just
for
in
our
general
regular
right
meeting.
now.
Oh, for regular,
Yeah,
our
yeah.
regular meetings, okay. Yeah, I'm okay with it.
I don't know. I think Greg said, I think he didn't say that he had a preference for afternoon, did he?
I don't
I
remember.
remember him saying that. I think he just needed to get it on his calendar. I think.
I don't
I guess
remember.
what time is checkout?
11.
11.
That's 11.
Okay,
Yeah.
so. Could. Might not be too bad in the morning.
Do we want, I mean, the problem is if we do afternoon,
It's, yeah.
there's
Yeah.
just no way, you
Yeah.
guys. I've tried it.
I know.
That damn accessibility, 12:30 in the afternoon.
If anybody needs to park at my house.
Oh, yeah, you're an
down.
option too.
I'm an option.
She's right up first.
Oh.
So you could park at Jackie's.
Then the city's gonna get mad at you. It's like, are you having a business in here?
I've got
And I
at
can-
least two and
Yeah.
2 spaces and usually
And I bike
it's
a lot,
empty
a lot in
on the
the,
road there, but
And I would walk, but it's just, it's too far.
well, for you, it's
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah. I mean, I'd love to walk, but
Yeah,
it just takes too long. It's
Yeah.
long to
Yeah.
get back to work, so.
yeah. No, you need to
Can
be
we
able
see
to.
mine and then see what Greg thinks when he
Yeah.
gets back and is in contact?
Yep, and I'll shoot him an email, when we're done, and I will email him just to see what he says, and then I will know more when I talk to Lawrence. like I said.
Okay, gotcha. So right now, we're gonna be holding, all those TAC meeting dates that we already scheduled. Oh, we only scheduled the April because we're
We're
waiting.
ready to see if we move.
Yeah.
Do you guys have a preference as to which Monday of the month?
Okay, well, wait a minute. So the next one is April
14th.
14th.
But we're not gonna do that.
We're not gonna do that one because that's their move date, City Hall's move date.
Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
so that might have to be the 21st.
21st.
I don't have a preference because I don't have anything that happens on the normal. My marketing meetings on Tuesday, chamber meetings on the Wednesday, so
yeah, Mondays work
Monday,
pretty well for
Memorial
me.
Day is the only bad thing that happens. Well, Memorial Day and Labor Day will be the only bad, and those are late, so what's wrong with the second? Tuesday?
Yeah.
The second one of the month
Second Monday seems to be
generally
good.
better, isn't it?
so it's fine. I'm starting a medication that I have to be in Portland on Monday.
Every Monday?
No, just
Oh.
once a month, and it just so happens it's that
Second Monday.
week. Yeah.
See that about third Monday?
Okay,
And then we could move the April meeting to the 21st.
yes,
Okay.
at
I'm
9 a.m.
gonna do that right.
The 21st is Easter Monday, just so that it doesn't matter to me.
Affect me either.
I don't think, but-
Anybody
I'll
else.
be at work.
Okay.
Okay.
Me too.
Sometimes that,
Every day.
Yeah, okay, so we're gonna look at the third Monday each month.
Meeting, so I'm
at
moving that to
9
April
a.m.
21st. And it won't be 2:00, it will be 9
9:00. Okay.
a.m. Done. Okay, I'm moving it on my calendar and I'm gonna be the placeholder until I hear differently from anybody else.
And I'm gonna just pop it on my, calendar here.
Good. That would be May 19th. June 16th.
My gosh.
And then July 21st. Oh, boy. Oh, July.
We are gonna run into President's Day and Martin Luther King Day in January and February, because we used to have coffee with the counselor on Monday, the third Monday.
Yeah.
But we can look at those at the
That's
time.
right.
Mhm.
I'm editing.
Coffee with the counselors, the first Monday?
No, it's not Monday anymore.
Oh, it's Wednesday.
Yeah, but it used to be the third Monday of the month.
Okay.
And so every January and February, we had to move it to the fourth Monday.
I cannot be smarter than my iPhone today, because if I put repeat every month, it just does the 21st.
Yeah, you can't say.
And I can't do monthly because then it asks, oh, here, on the 21st.
I've tried to do that too with our marketing and chamber meetings and it doesn't work. I found out the hard way. Another day of texting Sierra going, do we have a meeting today? It's next week, Julie.
Oh my God.
So this could change. But right now I will not be here on June 16th.
I've got a note. All right, I will shoot out an email. I'll email Greg today. I'll talk with Laura Wednesday and I will email you guys and confirm that the third Monday of every month at 9 a.m. works and what is available for sticking with a similar schedule as we have in the past for the interviews and the legal review. I have to check with Ashley's schedule on that one too, make sure she's available. Yeah, I forgot that one year and had a panic attack. Thankfully, she was available.
7th. That might be Veterans Day, but
I think that's Veterans Day is the 11th.
oh, is it? It never shows up. Everything else shows up on my iPhone, but
Yeah,
for some reason Veterans Day does not, and I don't understand why, but
because that one's not an observed one.
I guess. But why does Ramadan show up? I mean, really? I don't understand. Editing that one, and deleting that tag meeting.
Yeah, I know. I've got a few holidays that pop up on mine. I have no clue what they are.
Yeah. And then if you emailed somebody at one time in your life, their birthday shows up on.
Yeah.
I know.
There isn't. Thank you, Apple. One, two, three. Oh, no, it's the first. Okay. That will work with Greg. All right, I'm through this year. I got through 25.
Oh, excuse me. It's the start of 4.
What?
That's the start of 4.
Oh, no.
Get this.
Okay.
What's that? What else do we have? Oh, shoot, we go to the order.
Figure it out. Okay. All squared away? Any other?
We didn't talk about the date of the applicant interviews, did we?
No, so I'm gonna.
You're gonna talk to that.
with Laura, see what availability they have.
Okay.
Because it wasn't a reoccurring meeting, it's kind of, we'll see what she has. And in the future, what we're gonna do, just so you guys know, what will happen is I'll be in constant contact with Laura. We have all of our set meetings scheduled with them. And I do have one flex meeting a month that like within our base monthly allowance, not allowance, but fee with them. I've got one flex one and then we'll pay for any additional meetings that are needed. And I will contact Laura and just say, hey, these are the dates. So how I'm envisioning it is if you guys need a meeting outside of our normal one, I would say, okay, let's find 2 dates that work for everyone and then check with the chamber to see what's available. The good news is they don't have a lot of daytime meetings. They have some board meetings and some other groups that meet pretty consistently. And so I'll know when a lot of those are. And so we can kind of work around that. But we don't, not a lot
Yeah,
of
it seems
us
like a hall rentals mostly happen on the weekends.
on weekends,
Yeah.
yeah, or even nights.
Yeah.
And so daytime meetings, I think we'll have a bit more flexibility. But
Okay.
Laura and I have decided we will be in touch a lot.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Perfect. Michelle, you have any other items at all? Sorry. We all good? Okay, I adjourn this meeting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Not too shabby.
Oh.
Too shabby.